I grew my online coaching business from $0 to $10,000 a month in less than 6 months. Now I make at least 20 to 30K each month just a year later. Quick backstory, I used to work in a warehouse stacking parcels, then I was working at Domino's delivering pizzas. Now I run a multi-six-figure online fitness coaching business. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the full strategy so you can use it for yourself to scale your own online coaching business to $10,000 every single month this year. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to start your own coaching business online. And in order to do that, you're going to need to know how to build a content to client machine. When I first started, I was just spamming out any old content that I thought would get views. There was no thought, there was no strategy behind it. I thought that I was posting content that people wanted to see. But the truth is, I was way too in my comfort zone to the point where the content was boring. And not only did it not get a lot of views, it also did not convert into clients. The way to build that content to client machine effectively is not actually going to be from a lot of views. You just need the right views from the right people. The way that we're going to go about doing this is by first focusing on the three main pillars of content: your top of funnel content, your middle of funnel content, and your bottom of funnel content. Now, what is top of funnel content? Top of funnel content are things that are built to get a lot of views, to go viral, to bring eyeballs onto your page, your profile, yourself, and of course your offer and service that you're providing. With this type of content, it's usually quick, it's usually around 10 to 15 seconds, and it's easy enough that a 10-year-old could sit there, watch it, and understand it. With the middle of funnel content, this is where you're going to bring more value to people and show them your knowledge and that you know what you're talking about within your specific niche. For example, this could be the 3 best foods that you can eat right now to lose fat. And lastly, we have the bottom of funnel content that you definitely need to be including within your content strategy. This is going to be made for people who are near the end stages of their buying journey. These people are actively considering a purchase from you because they've seen your content from the top of funnel. They know that you have knowledge and you know what you're talking about and you provide value on a consistent basis, and they see that this bottom of funnel content is designed for action, so they can go out of their way to seek more help from you, ideally by messaging you, commenting on your post for you to message them, or booking in a call with you so that you can talk to them about your service in more detail. You need to be posting each of these 3 types of content every single week. And if you're not posting at least one of these, you need to seriously rethink your content strategy. There are 3 main action steps that you actually need to focus on, and the last one is the most important. Not only should you be posting at least 1 video every single day on your social media, whether that's Instagram, YouTube, or even TikTok, but also you should have videos that include punchy opinions, so controversial videos designed for engagement, value bombs where you talk about things that you have knowledge about to interest people into you and your service even more, lifestyle proof for authority and relatability. So if you were a fitness influencer or a fitness coach, for example, you need to be in the gym showing that you do what you say you do with clients and within your program. That could be just an Instagram story of you at the gym. And a bonus one that you definitely need to integrate into your content is going to be client wins. This can also be posted through a story. That's the most effective way that I found in order to entice people into your program. You add a CTA on there, a call to action to entice people to message you, like the story, vote on the poll that you're making on the story before you put the testimonial on there or the transformation from your client. And that in turn is going to draw people into your service even more and enlighten people to the fact that you can actually help people because there is social proof. I briefly mentioned it just then, but you definitely need to be using some sort of interactive story as your first story, especially if you're doing a story sequence. This is going to make people enjoy the process of going onto your stories and selecting something so they can relate to you and everything that you're putting out on social media. In terms of why this is actually effective, I've been using this strategy for a while now. As soon as you post an interactive story as your first, if it's a story sequence, it's going to get more views. And better then, if you can use a popular trending sound with that poll, it's going to guarantee you way more views than it usually would on your stories. Little tip. Now the question is, a common issue that a lot of people face, and I definitely faced this when I first started making content, was figuring out what I was going to even post. I usually got writer's block, or I guess you could say content block, and I couldn't think about what ideas to actually use. And I was losing my creative juices. However, there is an easy way around that from years of experience that I've found to get unlimited ideas. The first thing that you need to do is go through your Instagram following. Look at who you're following and get rid of the people who aren't actually in your niche and aren't making content that's similar to yours. Because if you're always on your phone and you're scrolling on Instagram, you're going to see people making content that you want to make, and therefore you can replicate or even potentially improve the idea that they've had to make it even better, and therefore you can post it and get loads of ideas from that. The second tip that I have that's extremely effective is filtering the most viewed videos in the last 30 days on YouTube and on TikTok. Type in your niche on the search bar and then filter to most viewed or most liked in the last 30 days. And you can get ideas from that content that's being posted. And the last two things that you can do are obviously use ChatGPT. I know a lot of you are probably thinking that, but is that the most effective for originality? Not really. What you can also do to see what actually works on the algorithm is go to vidIQ. No, this isn't sponsored, but it's a platform that you can pay, I think, around $20 for, that's gonna give you insights into each video, why it's doing well, why the thumbnail did well, and you can get a really good insight into what you can actually start posting to get views, pretty much guaranteed. In order to turn your content into clients, you need to be tracking your leads and your conversations daily. I cannot stress how important this is. You need to be treating your content as sales fuel. Things that can't be measured can't be scaled. And so if you're not tracking everything in terms of the content, how on earth are you going to scale and improve your content? The truth is, you're just not. If you're trying to lose weight and you're not tracking calories, how are you going to be able to track and measure your weight loss effectively? You're not. It's the same concept. One of the most impactful things that I've ever heard, and it's completely applicable to this, is the fact that people buy into you, not necessarily your content. So don't just think that because someone else has made content that you want to make, that you can't make it. No, don't reinvent the wheel. See what works, replicate it, make it better, and just put yourself in the video, because that automatically makes it different to everyone else. One of my mentored clients, Kwesi, was scared to remake content that he thought was gatekept to certain individuals. And as soon as he actually started to not really care about making content that's similar to someone else's, it completely changed his lead flow. And he's getting way more booked calls in than ever before, because he's using a proven content strategy and proven content that has been proven to work in the last 30 days. You cannot fail by doing this.
Hi, my name is Chris and I've been working with Callum for the past couple of months to actually help scale my online coaching business. Before I met Callum, my Instagram wasn't looking as good. Didn't have any structure, any professionalism. But after working with him for a couple of months, I completely had my own theme, got my own slides, got my own story, and I actually attracted more higher quality leads compared to before. But what has helped me a lot with Callum, he actually cares about the business. All right, because most people I work with, they'll spend only 10 or 20 minutes on the call. They help me actually grow, but the first couple of meetings I have with Callum, he spent over an hour to make sure he knows everything about my business from the top to the bottom, right? And I used to spend literally an hour and a half to close a client, right, on a monthly. And then now I'm spending time with Callum. He helped analyze my whole script, and now it takes about 30 minutes to close the paid in full, right, which helps a lot. Right, so about you, I highly recommend working with Callum. He'll help you one-to-one and guide you to the proper way of getting more leads, getting more clients for your business.
Of course, the client to content machine is very, very important and imperative in order to actually get leads interested in your service. But you are also going to need a niche specific offer. An example of an offer that is niche specific is I help men over 30 get lean, mobile, and muscular whilst only having 3 to 5 spare hours a week. You might be asking yourself, how can I compete with the guys that have huge followings? That is exactly how. If they have an offer that's very generic and broad and you have a very specific offer, what is the smart person going to choose? The offer that's built for them. And that is exactly how you're going to start charging premium prices, which is exactly what we're going to get into later on in this video. When I first started making content, I made that same mistake and I was dead broke. I was trying to target everyone and in turn targeted no one. As soon as I changed my offer to the hybrid method, which is the offer that I use now for my fitness coaching business, everything changed. I started targeting a specific type of individual, and would you know, they eventually came into my DMs, interacted with my stories, because the content was built for them. They resonated with it. They saw themselves in the content and they reached out. The leads were coming to me instead of me having to try and find the leads. When it comes to your niche specific high ticket offer, there are 3 main action steps that you need to be taking now. Choose a painful problem that a lot of people go through, such as busy professionals who want to drop 15 kilograms without giving up their weekends. Build your offer around outcomes instead of features. Don't make it too complex and start talking about glucose spikes and insulin levels. No one understands, and certainly no one gives a They just want to lose weight. They just want to build muscle. If you're working in the fitness niche, for example, they don't care about all these complex scientific theories that you're throwing at them. A rule of thumb that I like to use is to make your content so easy to understand and your offer so easy to understand and your fulfillment so easy to understand that a 10-year-old you could understand it. The truth is, people in this attention economy will turn their brains off once they hear a word they can't understand, okay? So you need to make your content very, very easy to understand, or they're just gonna click off your video. You need to ask yourself before everything you post, if my 10-year-old self cannot understand this, then most of the population will not either. You need to price your offer between $1,500 to $4,000. And you need to deliver serious value in your content and serious fulfillment. You might be sat here thinking, well, who's gonna pay that much for my offer? Like I said, if you make it niche specific for the person that you want to help, they're gonna feel like you're talking directly to them, and they will pay a lot of money to get the help that they need, especially if it's a painful problem that they've been struggling with for a while. Take it from me. I also really want you to think about the psychology behind this price point. I give this analogy to my clients all the time and the people that I mentor, and it's, if you were to get a car or buy a car, let's say for a couple $100, you're not really gonna care if that car gets destroyed or you hit a curb or your tire blows out because you only paid a couple $100. But if you bought a car for $50,000, which is a lot of money, you're gonna treat that car like your baby. You're gonna take good care of it, you're gonna put your all into it, and you're gonna see it as something that is valuable to you, and you're also gonna wanna get the most out of it. When you price your program that much or your service, psychologically, people are going to think that this is going to absolutely change their life. And by all means, it should. I mean, people pay $20 a month for a gym membership that they probably don't even use. So your program being priced this much has to blow that out of the water, and your fulfillment has to be on point. You need to systemize your sales, your lead flow, and your client fulfillment. Once you have traffic from your content and a strong offer, this is how you lock in growth and avoid burnout. And the last step is by far the most important to scale past that 3 to 5K a month mark. What you need is not only retention, but also time freedom. That is key for scale. A lot of people work in the business for way too long instead of on the business, and they can never grow past a certain point. You need to remember that you can't scale if your clients rely on you 24/7. And I learned that the hard way. There was a point in time where I had about 50 clients. I was taking every single weekly check-in call. I was taking 7 calls every single day, and I was completely burnt out. I learned the hard way, but that was a turning point for me and allowed me to actually scale past the 3 to 5K a month mark onto that 10 and beyond. I invested in bringing in a new coach. He took pretty much every single weekly client check-in call to a high level because I trained him up to do exactly what I was doing. And then I had way more time to work on the business instead of being trapped in the business. You do not want to be trapped in your business. The systems that you're going to build yourself are going to mean that you're going to have freedom. And if you work on your fulfillment to a good level, then your retention is going to mean profit. And if you have happy clients, then you're going to get referrals and you're going to get proof. That is real scale. And if you're still confused and want to build your own online coaching business, taking you through each step of the process with extreme detail, where you can get 24/7 mentorship from me and my team and weekly coaching calls with me personally, then make sure you check out the link in the description of this video so that you can fill out the form and see if you'd be a good fit for my one-to-one mentorship. There are 4 main steps that we need to go over in order to improve your fulfillment and scale your business. The first 3 main action steps are to use a sales script that is easy to understand and that feels natural to you. By all means, you still need to follow a proven structure within your sales script, but you also need to put in the reps in order to learn the skills. You need to learn the skills in order to communicate your program effectively to the person that you're trying to sell on your offer. I would start by jumping on calls with unqualified leads to begin with in order to get those reps in so you can learn the skills in the quickest time possible. Humble yourself before you start to try and sell to people with money. I would also highly recommend either getting a CRM or having some sort of tracking sheet. This can be a simple tracking sheet for leads, follow-ups, and conversations. And you can even train your setter to message people and track the conversations for you so you don't have to do any of the work. But if you're starting from zero, it's only you, then you need to start doing that, because if you understand the processes from each individual role within your business, then you're gonna be able to train people on that and you're actually going to be able to take back your time. You also need to make sure that your setter has some sort of standard operating procedure that they can follow every single day and every single week, and has an end of day report so it can be reviewed every single day. That way, as we said, we can not only track it, but we can analyze it. And then if we analyze it, we can potentially see where we went wrong and improve all these different areas of the business. I would also highly recommend scheduling weekly rituals, story CTAs that you're going to drop at certain times during the week, DM reach outs that you're going to do at certain times during the week, and of course, content planning that you're going to drop on specific days of the week, and testimonial drops that you're also going to drop on specific days of the week. And on the screen right now, I'm going to put my content schedule that you can steal for yourself in order to cater to different days of the week by following exactly what your ideal client actually does during the week. That's what you need to keep in mind. If your ideal client, the person that you're trying to target for your offer, has a particular schedule, then your content needs to cater to that schedule, because there's going to be way more likeliness in them seeing it and resonating with that content at the time of you posting it. The final piece of the puzzle is that client fulfillment. Use plug and play systems like pre-recorded onboarding videos. Have some sort of onboarding form or automated email that they can fill out after they pay. You can use Zapier to automate this, and I think you can even use Stripe to do that. Make sure you also have some sort of weekly check-in template. Yes, you can send your clients a form to fill out, but it's way more effective and personable if you hop on a call and jump on and get them excited for the next week. There are specific strategies that I use on my weekly client calls to get my clients excited for the next week. That is usually by setting them little goals to look forward to the next week, and also reminding them of their progress and how far they've come since the last week or since the last month. And of course, in order to actually give your clients some sort of program or training plan, I would recommend an app-based delivery. You don't have to use an app specifically. You can use Google Drive, you can use Google Docs, you can use Notion, but for more professionalism, I would use something like Everfit or Trainerize if you're an online fitness coach. It's easy to use, it's easy to understand, and clients usually love it, and you can even personalize it to your own branding. I personally use Everfit, and no, this is not sponsored. Eventually, you can even use group calls instead of one-to-one calls with your clients in order to build more of a community, in order to build some more momentum, and to also allow you to work on the business instead of in the business. That's going to save you so much time. One little tip as well is to make some sort of client community, whether that's WhatsApp, Discord, or Telegram. And then instead of you and the coaches helping them, they can end up helping each other, which is going to save you more time and build a really healthy relationship between you, your clients, and them both together. So they're going to enjoy the coaching calls, and they're going to enjoy the interactivity that they have with inside your fulfillment. And one of the things that I learned the hard way is not setting boundaries with my clients. They ended up completely abusing my time, which is not what I wanted, because I couldn't work on the business as we've discussed before. I was trapped in a cage. For example, you need to be clear with your clients in saying that you're not available at specific times of the day or specific times of the week, so they know what level of service you're going to be able to provide for them. Because if you don't, they're going to get pretty angry. They're not going to be happy with the service. They might ask for a refund, and that could get super messy. So make sure you're very, very clear before they even start the program, the service, the offer, exactly what the offer is in terms of communication and in terms of the service that they can expect from you and maybe even your team. With this guide, you now have everything you need to know to start a successful online coaching business this year that makes you at least $10,000 every single month. I didn't leave anything out. Thanks for watching.